everyone, this is Veronica Kirilenko of the New American Magazine. We're in Washington, D.C., covering the Conservative Political Action Conference. And here with us, we have two gentlemen from the South Carolina Freedom Caucus. Please tell us what's going on in South Carolina. It recently received some national coverage. What's going on?
Hi, I'm Rob Harris from the Spartanburg area, District 36. So what's going on is the establishment Republican caucus is afraid of us. There was a big takeover. We're part of the third largest freshman caucus in South Carolina history, in fact. And a lot of us, me namely in my district, took out longtime incumbents who were kind of establishment type people. So they're getting a little nervous and they're circling the wagons. And so what they decided to do for the first time in history, and I think the first time probably maybe anywhere in the nation, the Republican caucus decided they needed to change the rules to keep us from campaigning, and they wouldn't define what that means, to keep us from campaigning from any other member of the Republican caucus, and we had to promise not to do that by signing a loyalty pledge at the end that we would comply with these rules. I don't think there's a Democrat caucus in the country that even makes their members sign this rules form, and we didn't, and a lot of us didn't sign it in the Freedom Caucus, most of them, and they kicked us right out. So we're now free to do whatever we want and say whatever we want, and we also have it's probably getting some more national media attention because we are actually suing the ethics board, the legislators in their official capacity, to let us be a caucus just like they are. They can campaign, they can raise money, they can have a staff, and so we're getting help from the American First Legal, and they're doing the pro bono work, and they are suing on our behalf because we should have the freedom of speech and to operate just like that. And any other caucus, anybody else who wants to start a caucus like that as well, that's fine, but that's a freedom of speech thing. And
Absolutely.
so we should be able to do that. And so we got kicked out of caucus is the big story, and that's still ongoing. I mean, as far as I know, there aren't really any serious negotiations going on. In fact, the caucus, in my opinion, are getting dark money groups they've spent probably over $70,000 with text blasts against us on every issue. Like we got CRTs out of schools, we got I got attacked for being pro-choice, and I am a pro-life campaigner. And the other issue was constitutional carry, and they are sending out these text message blasts to our constituents, spending tens of thousands of dollars against us just to throw us, smear us and stuff like that. So, so we need everybody's help to fight back with that. And I always say, adopt a Freedom Caucus member. Pick one that you know, or maybe is in your district, and just pile on and help us if they can.
Yeah, and we really haven't capitalized on this other than the national media that we're getting. Our chairman was on the Glenn Beck show, and there's been an article on Fox News print online. The funny one is we got some attention through the New York Times, and the New York Times was defending the swamp in South Carolina. So anytime that the New York Times is attacking you, I'll take it. What do we always say? We're over the target. When we keep getting attacked, we're over the target. So like Rob was saying, there's a Republican caucus, there's a Democrat caucus, there's a black caucus, and there's a women's caucus, and they won't let us particularize as a caucus. So, yeah, I see their point. They don't want us to have any power to be able to raise money or just to have that voice in there. So we're doing we couldn't do it from the inside, so we're having to bring a lawsuit against the group that's bringing it in our name against the ethics committee. So.
It sounds absolutely unprecedented.
Right, and some of the issues. This is the reality. We are throwing down against the establishment, like on legislation. We're co-authors of a lot of America First and Americanism type bills, and so we give them trouble on the floor. We get roll call votes, and we get them on record. So first, sometimes we're not always going to win on policy, but we can get them on record as voting against good amendments or voting for bad bills, and so. Next time around, we have them on record now, where the Freedom Caucus, because of our numbers, this is a numbers game, we now have the luxury of being able to call for roll call votes anytime we need to. That's kind of the machinery of how things happen, but we are throwing down against every bad bill and everything that we're doing. It's a tireless effort, but I mean, we're up for it. That's why we joined it. I'm sure Jay feels the same way. After the first battle we had, someone was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, some of you freshmen had to witness this." I'm like, this is why we're doing this. Mm-hmm. We are we have to save our country. We don't just, I was telling the fellow out here, we just don't have election cycle after election cycle anymore, I believe, to fix this. It's getting close to the end, in my opinion. That's why I jumped in the race. So I have a bill coming up. I'm putting the finishing touches on election integrity to give us everything you've always dreamed that in election integrity, same-day voting, paper ballots, get rid of the machines, no ERIC, dismantling the SEC, things like that. So in our state, but so we're hardcore and we need the help. So.
And I know that both of you gentlemen are the John Birch Society members. Do you think that might be a reason they are so afraid of you, the RINOs in South Carolina?
Oh, it's definitely been brought up on the campaign trail. I'm one of the crazies, and I'm telling you, I had John Birch Society members knocking doors and putting up signs. I got to shout out John Perna, a South Carolina. He's a legend in John Birch Society. 53 or 54 years he's been a member, and just amazing the support we've gotten from the John Birch Society. So Evan Mulch recruited me, Arthur Hampton, really good people, and I'm completely in line with the John Birch Society. And so anyway, sorry about Sebastian Gorka this morning when he found out who you were. Yeah, exactly. But I was a fan of his until about half an hour ago, and I heard that story. So, but thank you so much for having us on. Can we do a shameless plug here?
Yeah, and one last thing. I was going to say, my son, I think, is the youngest John Birch chapter member in the States. Samson Harris, I want to give him a shout out. He's the youngest one. He just started a chapter in our district. So.
And Rob, please tell us, how did you get involved with the John Birch Society?
Well, so I met Evan too through mutual friends, and we're like, when I went through reorg, which is happening this time, happening again this year, and I got to be executive committee man. I was like, well, what do we do in our precinct? I said, I'm having a Constitution class. So first we started out in our house. We had like 35 people in our family room, and then I moved to another location, and we're about to start another one towards the end of March. We're going to offer that as a precinct, as a way to get people interested and active in the politics, just at a local level. So John Birch Society is all about that, as you know. And I shout out to them for starting the state legislator scorecards. Those are very impressive, keeping us accountable, and I don't mind that. I'm not afraid of it. I'll be good.
Do you have any information if the John Birch Society has a decent representation in local legislators?
How many local legislators are John Birch Society members? I think we know each other. There's Rob Harris, Jay Kilmartin. Yeah. Oh, not around the country. We don't have contact, but I'd love to, and I'm sure our Evan Mulch could get that for us. But it'd be good to have those connections. So you were asking how we got involved in the John Birch Society. Oh, well, we'll see. We've been in there 2 months, and we're stirring it up, and we're getting attacked. So we are over the target, definitely. But I was at a Ron Paul event 10 years ago and met Evan. And I always, everybody, that guy, he's a little extreme. And I get to meet him, and I'm like, he's just like me. He speaks my language. So I think there's a lot more of us out there, and we got to get the word out about the John Birch Society, because I know years ago there was a campaign to make JBS sound like crazy radicals, and I have not seen that one bit. We're just conservative. We're constitutionalists. We're Americanists, and I don't know how else to explain us other than getting to know people and explaining it in person what the John Birch Society does. So.
Also, I'd say we have to get some new conspiracies because all of the other ones have come true. So.
Yeah, this is fascinating how this word conspiracy is being thrown around, and people stop by the booth and say, "Hey guys, you're still around! Oh wow!" And the people get interested actually in what's really what John Birch Society stands for, and there is so much misconception about what it is. How do you explain it? Why don't people understand? And we've been around for so many decades already.
When you start walking folks through the policies that the John Birch Society supports and their position on the Constitution and things that affect our life, there's like, well, yeah, I agree with that. Well, yeah, I agree with that too. Right? So I just try to walk them through policy and position, and they're like, that's actually not that crazy. Whatever they have heard in the past, it really is just. John Birch Society does stand for what the heart of America really does stand for.
Well, you look at why JBS was created by Robert Welch, and you read his words, and you see 40, 50 years later, it's coming true. So you can't, I mean, I guess once we were conspiracy theorists, now we're called prophets. So that's the way you explain it. Look what he said back in 1959, and look what's happening. You know, you just connect the dots for people. And as you know, that's really difficult.
But do you think that there has been a coordinated and very well orchestrated information campaign against the JBS?
I don't know about that, but it is true about anything that's true and right, for sure. Even, so I mean, I don't know particularly to say that about the JBS. I haven't heard a lot of that, but again, when I'm out in public and I talk about it, I just try to talk about policy without just saying, "Now we're John Birch Society." I just try to walk them through, like I said, the policies and the things that I stand for. Everybody's like, "Oh yeah, I get that." I'm like, "I'm on man," so.
Any message of hope to the people in South Carolina and to Americans watching at home in general?
I'm excited. I just made the comment to Adam Morgan, our chair. I go, look at all these young people at CPAC. That blows my mind. My daughter just became president of Turning Point USA at her local college in Lakeland. So yeah, there's hope. And I mean, she grew up really shy, and we're like, where is this coming from? So they're feeling the heat, and they're watching what's going on in the world. And I think her parents have had some influence on her. So yeah, she was looking up Turning Point on our college campus, and people had graduated out, and it wasn't. She goes, "Dad, I went to go ask, and now I'm the president." And they have a booth set up. So I mean, the young kids are getting it, and the homeschoolers are getting it. We got to get our kids out of public schools. We need to, just absolutely crazy.
Give your coordinates.
Yeah, exactly.
Give your coordinates.
JForHouse85.com. We're probably the poorest caucus because we're not allowed to raise money as a caucus, and we work full time. Rob and I are kind of in the same boat where we've got jobs, we've got kids. We were asked to run, and we're seeing it's exactly what we were told it was, and worse down in Columbia. The swamp is alive and well. Can I introduce our vice chair of the Freedom Caucus, RJ May? RJ May just walked up, and I'd like to introduce him, but he's our vice chair, South Carolina Freedom Caucus, and I'll sneak out of the way.
Hey, how are you?
Yeah, hi.
This is
Hey,
Veronica.
RJ May. Hi, Veronica. Rob, how's it going?
how you doing,
Good to
buddy?
see you. Everything well?
There you go.
What are we talking about today?
We're just wanted to introduce you and what you do for the Freedom Caucus and how you're helping.
Great. Well, I serve as a vice chairman of the South Carolina Freedom Caucus. We've got 20 members, these two included, and we're taking on the swamp in Columbia. The swamp water has gone down the Potomac and reached its way to South Carolina, and now we're fighting the establishment there, and glad to have the help of the Freedom Caucus in D.C.
Yeah, so please tell us what's the best way to support you. Please tell us where people can go and chip in.
Well, so we have a website, scfreedomcaucus.com, but we all have our individual Facebook pages. The laws in South Carolina right now are they prevent us from having a voice. We're actually having to sue right now to have our First Amendment protected. Our laws right now don't give us a voice where they give other preferred caucuses a voice. So we're in the middle of a lawsuit right now. America First Legal is helping us out. Of course, Stephen Miller, President Trump's former advisor. But visit us at scfreedomcaucus.com. I think it's Rob Harris.
HarrisForSC.com.
HarrisForSC.com.
JForHouse85.com. Already did that.
And voterjmay.com are our websites.
Thank you, gentlemen, and best of luck. Thank you for your outstanding job.